Welcome to Talking Point with Stephen Taylor here on Deen TV. It's good to have you along. And somebody that I've been watching for many years and somebody that I think is a friend, even though he doesn't follow me on Twitter, Rob van Vuuren. How are you?
You were going to bring that up. I knew it. I used to follow you on Twitter. It was just lank boring. I'm sorry.
Wow, really? Jeez, what a way to start the interview, eh? How's it going, man?
Hey, you brought it up. How are you doing? Thank you for having me on your show, even though I don't follow you on Twitter
Maybe
anymore.
we'll change that.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah, I'll try and be more. Tell me what you want, the content. I'll try and be more interesting, you know?
More pictures of me, Steve.
Wow, really?
More pictures of me.
I'll retweet you more. There we go. Eh? So how's it going, man? Tell us about Rob van Vuuren. Firstly, where you grew up, you know.
Okay, you want my whole life story?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm from the Eastern Cape originally. I was born in PE. Grew up there and also on a little farm outside of East London in an area called Brakfontein, if you can believe that. I went to a little farm school where we didn't wear shoes and stuff. A school called Lilyfontein. So I had this kind of rural childhood, which was kind of idyllic, growing up on a farm, climbing trees and stuff like that. But it was also like a strange time. It was 80 South Africa, apartheid South Africa. So it was it's strange looking back on it, and you think, I had such a lovely childhood, but then you realize that there was something desperately wrong with what was going on. And
How old are you now, for me to ask?
I'm 40. I turned 40 this year. Yeah. So
look it, man.
Thank you. I'm feeling
That's
it.
why you unfollowed me. You're like, how does this Twitter thing work? I'm 40 now.
I don't understand this modern technology.
Unfollow, I don't understand.
You're right, it was a mistake. I was trying to retweet you and now I don't know how to switch the app back on.
I know. 40 years old, dude, wow.
Yeah, so from the Eastern Cape we moved to PMB in KZN. I did high school there, varsity back in the Eastern Cape in Grahamstown. And then I moved to Cape Town to Joburg for a couple of years. And back to Cape Town. I'm very happy here.
I can see why I became a comedian, because nothing happens in PE. You're like, what is going on? There's nothing. I'm looking at myself, Yeah. How is PE? Because people mock it all the time. It's the windy city.
Yeah, they call it the friendly city as well, which is a lie, because they'll clap you in PE. You'll get smacked. What I love about PE is that it's the only city you can smell before you see it as well. Yeah, if you're driving from the Port Alfred side, there's this building on the side of the road that's basically like pumping poo into the air. But what they've done...
It's kind of like driving past Table View, eh?
But what they've done in true Eastern Cape fashion is they've painted the building blue with little fluffy clouds and flamingos and penguins, as if the building's standing there going, it wasn't me.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't me.
That's not the DA logo, it's something else.
It's something else entirely, yeah. Okay, you know what? I love going back there these days. I love going back to the Eastern Cape. It still really feels kind of like my home.
Obviously, they know that you come from there, right?
Yeah. I'm quite vocal about the fact that I come from the Eastern Cape. I think the Eastern Cape is incredible in terms of the amount of talent it exports. Sport and the theatrical arts, comedy. So many comedians are from the Eastern Cape. So many really good comedians doing great things in the country at the moment. Ndumbiso Lindy is from King Williamstown. I think Tats and Konzo is from there as well. There's a whole...
just the rugby team needs to come into scratch now, but they knew. Let's give them credit.
They're kind of fighting a losing battle there. They
were kind of thrown in the deep end, really.
Yeah, but there's so much rugby talent that comes from the Eastern Cape as well. Sia Kolisi is originally from the Eastern Cape. But a lot of great.
Are you a sports fan? Do you watch sport?
Yeah, I'm a big rugby fan. I love rugby. Yeah.
Okay, what team do you support? Should I ask?
There's part of me that supports the Kings, although it's just pointless. And I'm a Cape Townian now, so I'm a Stormers fan. Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever watched that show, by the way, Pointless?
No.
Haven't you?
No.
The aim of the game is to get the most obscure answer, and then that becomes they give 100 people a question, and then out of those 100 people, you've got to give the answer that none of them gave. That's hence the name Pointless.
That sounds like
you should check it out. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Cool. So when did you move to Cape Town?
Straight after varsity in 99, I think, and I lived here for about 5 or 6 years, then moved to Joburg for about 5 or 6 years, and I've been back
You studied, did you study, how did you get into comedy? Did you study acting, comedy?
Yeah, I studied drama at Rhodes University, and my background is kind of theatre, like a lot of physical theatre, and I obviously always had...
What is physical theatre?
It's
Sounds funny.
It's how do you describe it? It's where you use your body primarily as your main tool of performance. So I studied under someone called Andrew Buckland, who's a legend in the South African theatre world, and he's won slews of awards at Edinburgh and stuff like that. And he's kind of the best in the world at what he does, and he does. He's accomplished. Straight theatrical actor, but he also has this incredible physical style where he can play a host of different characters, create an epic narrative, but it's just him on stage. There's no set or props, and he creates this world. And that was something that I always loved, and I loved that kind of physical approach to...
You looked up to him?
Absolutely. He's like my kung fu master as far as theatre is concerned. So my early work was very much influenced by that, and I'm a big fan of fantasy. So I would write kind of in the fantasy genre, and I would write kind of an epic, fantastical narrative, and then I would have a lot of fun trying to solve those problems of the fact that I'm changing landscape and setting all the time. I've got a host of different characters and action scenes, but I've only got one person, and it's my body on stage. So there's a lot of fun in that, and playing, physically playing the different characters, and yeah. So that was my background, and obviously a lot of physical comedy, and I've always been a comedy fan. But I only fell into stand-up comedy by mistake many years later.
I saw that in your bio, actually. I was like,
yeah.
That's kind of weird. How do you fall into comedy?
I guess Corner and Twaki and The Most Amazing Show was a kind of a happy...
I grew up with that.
Oh, did you? Cool, yeah. It was kind of a happy mistake in a sense. Like Lo Fenter and I met on a film shoot. It was initially a commercial shoot, and then we were again cast on something in another film, and we just started kind of hitting it off. And then we were cast in this really bad B-grade Dutch action movie, which shot for like 3 months around Cape Town. And on set for those kind of movies, you sit around a lot and you just talk cuck, basically. So we did a lot of that, and we just kind of, started riffing, and he'd had this weird accent and this character that he was developing, and then it kind of just morphed into the show, which then became really big and had this really kind of big cult following. And
it was funny. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And that was kind of my first introduction into a performance style that there was no fourth wall. Like before that, I was doing theatre stuff where you pretend like the audience isn't there. But with Corner and Twaki, you're engaging directly with the audience.
Is there boundaries in comedy to what you can or can't do?
I don't think so. Okay. I don't think so. I think there are no rules, and whatever rules are there are meant to be broken.
Depends what country you go to, obviously. Here in South Africa, we have a lot of freedom, though, to still do and say what we want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Like I watched Jimmy Carr when he was here, and he gets away with a lot more than South African audiences allow South African comedians to get away with.
True.
There's a kind of moral policing that happens with South African audiences for their own acts, which I found very interesting. I was like, geez, a lot of the stuff that this guy's saying is like, it's rape and pedophilia jokes a lot of the time.
Wow.
And South African comics would be shut down very quickly.
Have you been heckled before?
Oh yeah, every comic's been heckled. Absolutely, yeah. It's
Death
part of
threats?
the no death threats yet.
Okay. Let's hope not.
Please, none of that. It's just a joke. I'm just joking.
Leon Schuster, hey?
Yeah.
You got him bad, hey? That was.
got him really bad.
How did that come about?
They phoned me up and they said, "Do you want to prank Leon?" I was like, "Yes."
Who wouldn't want to? Eh?
Yeah. So when I was driving into town for the thing, I just kind of phoned them and said, "Okay, explain to me what the setup is. What are you doing?"
Never met him.
I had met him once before, very briefly. I think I auditioned for one of his movies or something.
Oh wow. Okay.
But so I was kind of brought in the context of, there's this semi-famous actor known as Twaki who's, we're going to interview him and we're going to prank him.
Okay.
But the producers had decided we want him to be pranked, and this seems like the kind of guy who would be able to do it.
Was it one take?
One take. And that's why I went so hectic. I mean, the acting in that is like, I'm crying real tears and I'm like freaking out. And I also, like, I set it up quite carefully. I was like, listen, when I come in there, please phone me in the first 5 minutes so that I'm going to pretend like it's my wife and the dogs and the vet and there's all this stress, because I wanted my stress levels to be believable. Because you realize you've only got one shot at it.
So you can't. He walked onto set. He didn't know you were coming. Then
he knew I was coming, but he didn't know I was going to flip the script on him. So and I was like,
what he did was real. He did really freak out.
He nearly had a heart attack that day. Yeah, you know, because it's he. When I got to work with him again on the movie after that, where I played his son. It's a very stressful position to be put in when you're constantly pranking people. And he's very aware that he's messing with people. And he's very aware that he's putting other people under a great deal of stress. So he doesn't necessarily feel great about that. And it's dangerous. So he's kind of on edge all the time.
He's not like that in real life. He's very quiet and like.
He is a prankster. He's definitely a prankster, and he's.
But he keeps himself.
Yes. Yeah. He's not. Yeah. He's. Although he's like, he is a prankster. You know, like he's the kind of guy he plays pranks on set. He like put a whoopee cushion under your chair and stuff like that, which is not like, I'm not really actually a prankster.
Would you say that he's just in character then, or that's how he is?
That's how he is. He's like the kind of, he's the kind of guy who was at school and he was always playing those pranks, pulling the chair out from under you and like that kind of stuff.
How old is he now? He's getting on, eh?
He's getting on. I don't want to say his age because I don't actually know and I might get it wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's incredibly stressful, that work. I don't know how he's done it for so long. I mean, I did that one movie and I don't think I'd ever be able to do it again. It's just...
The one where you played his son?
Yeah.
Did you get clapped?
I got clapped a couple of times. And like, people are like stressed out in this country, you know, like, you mess with the wrong person. And
especially now, even more.
Yeah, you could end up dead. So I have no idea how he does it. I don't think so.
Was it too hectic or what? How long did it take to film that whole movie? How long did it take?
How long was it? It was probably about 3 months, I think 3.5, 4 months. Amazing experience. Like, I absolutely loved it, and I love being able to work with someone who has such a kind of iconic space in the South African landscape. And I mean, he's broken every box office record in this country. In a country where local cinema does historically so badly, he's like, his movies sell more than like Titanic or Avatar and things like that, which is like this weird anomaly in terms of how the rest of South African cinema does.
And he's got some international actors who have been in the movies with him before.
Yeah. So from that point of view, it was amazing to just be a part of that. To be a part of that franchise and to sit around the table with him and Alfred and Gray Hoffman, I was just like, wow, this is a part of. Yeah. It's not trick camera work. He really is that small, hilarious guy.
Some role does Leon play like on set? I mean, he's involved obviously in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, he's like
absolutely
okay.
Yeah, I mean, he thinks
it's his project.
Yeah, and he thinks through those. I mean, like those pranks are like a lifelong passion of his, and he's researched it for years and years and years, and he knows exactly what he wants to get out of any given prank. And it was amazing to me to see how much of it they cover and like how far ahead they can think in a prank. It was like, if we do this, these people are probably going to react like this. They'll probably run over there, so we need a camera over here to catch that. So that was amazing to see, how like the science of it was very, very, very interesting. But yeah, stressful. I'm rather like, I'll tell jokes and learn lines, but I don't know if I'd do that again.
So from doing a movie like that, obviously you've gone on to do other movies like Invictus. You were involved with that. Small cameo role. No,
I wasn't. I was in...
No, not Invictus. Sorry, man. Mandela Long Walk for Freedom. There we go.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Sorry, man. It was Alba. There we go.
Yes, yeah.
Tell me about that.
That was amazing.
I had a small part in it, but it was such a big scene and such an intense scene, and really kind of emotionally very hectic. And watching the movie, I loved how that scene played out in the film. It was kind of a critical, pivotal kind of scene in the movie. It was the Sharpeville massacre, and I was the officer in command.
And you got to meet the full cast. How is Idris in real life?
Amazing. He wasn't in the scene that I was on, but he was there. He was on set, and he came and he watched our scene. And then afterwards, I was so nervous because I'm such a huge fan of his. I like The Wire was like my favorite TV show ever. And I was speaking to the ladies in the makeup truck, and I was like, I really want to meet him. And they were like, go. I'm I'm like, but I can't just walk into his trailer. And they're like, he's the most chilled, friendly guy. Just go. So I was like, okay. I knocked on the door and he's like, hey, how's it going? We took a picture together. And he was like, I saw your scene. Really great, really intense. Well done. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Have someone like with that kind of career behind him, who's that skilled. And then to like just see that he's just so down to earth, such a friendly guy. It was amazing, really. Like, I'll never forget that experience.
Do you ever think that you'd do Kwana and Twaki again?
Yeah, I think we've actually spoken about it a lot this year. We're planning like a live show, which we'll probably do at the end of 2017. So we want to plan it long in advance and do it properly. You know, if we do it right, we want to do it big and we want to do it all the way.
And my sources tell me that you can dance as well. Apparently, you're involved in Strictly Come Dancing.
Dude,
Did you win?
I won it. Yeah, I won it. I broke every record on that show. That was hectic. That was an amazing experience.
Is that intense as well?
So intense. Probably one of the most intense things I've ever done in my life.
So you started off not knowing anything about dancing.
Not knowing anything about ballroom and Latin specifically, but I'd trained physical theatre again, which you know nothing about.
Yeah.
But it's there is a intense kind of physical training that goes hand in hand with that, and we did. We studied dance, but more kind of a modern dancey release-based kind of thing.
The schedule for Strictly Come Dancing, walk us through that.
Super intense. It's like I don't remember now. It was like 8 weeks.
Full on, you stay there?
Leading up, you're dancing from morning till night every day. Your body goes into complete shock. Everyone starts picking up injuries. By the end of that show, like there was physios around all the time, like just the smell of deep heat wafting through the Carlton Centre, people walking with limps strapped up all over the place. Sure. Yeah, it's really, really physically draining and emotionally draining as well. And it's a reality TV show, and it's meant to be like that. They want.
I think there was 1 or 2 episodes that were live, were there?
Yes, they're all live. All the training and the rehearsals happen in the week leading up to the live show.
Oh, wow.
And that show is live, and that is super intense. Like, I hear that the theme song for Strictly, and I want to poo straight away. It's just like, it's terrifying. It's really, really terrifying. Amazing experience there. Absolutely loved it. Like, what a unique opportunity to have like a world-class professional dancer as your own private partner for months. So whenever it got hard, I just kept reminding myself, I was like, this is going to be over and I will never have this opportunity.
Did you cry? Was it tough? Like, did you have moments where you're like, nee, ek wil net huis toe gaan?
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
Totally. Yeah, it was hectic. It was I'm actually physically feeling sore just talking about it.
So tell me, Rob van Vuuren, what do you think you'd be doing if you weren't doing acting or comedy? What do you think that you'd be doing right now? If anything, eh?
I'd probably be in a band. I'd probably be playing bass guitar in a band.
But you're in a band. You did a movie with John Savage, right? How was that?
It was so much fun. What a great experience.
That was quite raucous. Eh?
Yeah. A very cool movie. Hey, I mean, typical South African cinema goers. No one really saw it. Yeah. Okay. But it.
You were at overseas. I think there was some.
He took it to Cannes, and at one point he'd picked up an international distributor, and there was talk of us going to TIFF and Sundance, and then it kind of petered out, and nothing's happened from it. But I'm very proud of that movie. I think it's a really, really great little product. I think it's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of heart. It's a great comedy, and I wish.
What do you think do you think people are not ready for something like that, or they didn't understand?
I just think it's. I think it's South African cinema goes. No South African movies do well, aside from Leon Schuster. And there's now, and the Afrikaans cinema is well supported.
Afrikaans market is loyal, hey?
Yeah, they're incredibly loyal, and they allow the industry to keep going. So those movies will generally at least break even, go into a little profit, and allow.
Kan jy Afrikaans praat?
Ja, ek kan so 'n bietjie, maar Afrikaans is nie vlot nie.
So you won't be doing any Afrikaans movies anytime soon?
Maybe. I've done small parts in some Afrikaans movies. I played a reporter in Jimmy and Pink, but I spoke English in that.
Okay. And Coppersit you did with Siv. How was that?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun as well. That was a crazy movie.
You were a security guard, or?
I was a ex failed alcoholic cop that becomes a security guard and then does a body swap with Siv.
funny.
Yeah, and it was great to work with Siv on that, and
Did you write that
Really
or?
tight now.
No. It was a guy called
Doesn't matter. We'll
Oliver.
go Google him.
I can't remember Oliver's surname. I'm so sorry,
Google
Oliver.
cognizant. Love you, Oliver.
He wrote it and directed it, and Siv and I worked on it, and we've now we're just best buddies. We're
Yeah, he's
really
cool.
tight.
Great soul.
Yeah.
Down to earth, yeah.
And he produces all my work, actually, all my theatre work and all my stand-up comedy shows. He's
It's not physically
producing.
there or what?
He's great support. He's always there, but he's the money behind it. You know, he's the one that makes it happen, which is a huge relief for me not to have to worry about that. I can just make the product.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and he's producing my show Life, which is on at the Baxter right now.
It's about, that's on at the Baxter until the end of May.
Till the end of May, till the 28th of May, from Monday to Saturday. It's kind of a rant. There's so many things that kind of happened in my life recently that have informed the writing style of it. Number one, I turned 40, so that makes you grumpy. I was at I think there's this general thing at the moment where with social media, everyone's so used to presenting this perfect life to the rest of the world. Instagram and whatever, you know, you're always showing your best life.
But that has changed quite a lot, yeah?
Well, I think there's very rarely people allow themselves to be vulnerable on those spaces for obvious reason, because people don't want to see you falling apart. Yeah. But I think there's this kind of tension, an underlying tension throughout society where people they just desperately want to be honest, and social media doesn't really give you that opportunity to be honest about when things are going badly.
Sometimes if you're too honest, you're a racist.
Well, yeah. Well, then you just like out yourself as a racist, and that's fine. I think we want to out them, and
for sure we do. They must,
Yeah, they must suffer.
Yeah. But on top of that kind of underlying tension, then I was at a corporate event last year where there was a motivational speaker on stage. And I just got so angry with this motivational speaker, not because he's like a bad dude. I mean, he's an amazing guy. These motivational speakers are amazing. Yeah. And we've got so many of them in this country. You know, the kind of guy who will paddle to Madagascar and back in a boat made out of wet wipes. You know, it's like, wow, that's really brave of you, but also kind of stupid. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. It's like, I don't need to see you doing this insane stuff to make sense of my life. Like for me, it's hard enough just to get to work in the mornings or get to my 5-year-old kid to school on time or pay my bond. Those are my stresses. And you running the Great Wall of China doesn't really help me, actually. Although, I mean, you know, I get it. I totally get it. And I sound very bitter and cynical about it, but I do get it. It is a source of inspiration and whatever. But I think it was just all these things combined. It was like, no, I want to be the demotivational speaker, actually. I want to be the guy who's saying, like, it's not that easy to solve the mysteries of life. It's a lot more complicated. Yeah, and that's allowed me to be quite cynical with my writing, and I'm having so much fun with it. And I'm amazed at the kind of responses that I'm getting. People are really relating to it. It resonates with them. Like, it's like, thank you for telling me that life is like the toilet at Home Affairs, because I agree with you.
Sorry, my Lucy. Yeah, man, interesting stuff. So it's on until the 28th.
28th of May, Golden Arrow Studio at the Baxter. Sunday I've got to take off. Although this Sunday I'm going to Hermanus to perform at Barry Hilton's club there.
Does he have a club?
Yeah, he hosts a comedy show there. I think he's moved to Hermanus, so really excited. It will be the first time I'm actually working with him.
I must find him. I must go check it out. Yeah. Tell me how it is.
Yeah, it's a regular Sunday gig, I think, or once a month. I'm not entirely sure, but he's like a legend in South African comedy. Such a nice guy, so warm, and he's got just so much knowledge to impart. So I'm.
He's been a bit quiet of late. I think he's probably just.
He's working. He's always working. He's gigging. He's all over the place. Before I forget, tickets at CompuTicket for my show Live. You must book tickets at CompuTicket. Yeah. So I'm doing that until the end of May, and then I start working on a whole lot of other projects.
Going to Grahamstown?
Yeah. It's like my 23rd consecutive year there. This is ridiculous. I'm taking a whole bunch of shows. I'll be taking Life. There I'll be taking a best of stand-up comedy show. I'm also taking a new one-man theatre show called Dangled, which is an adaptation of 3 Nikolai Gogol short stories, which will be adapted by James Cairns, Louis Fullion and Tasha's Cup.
Are you touring around the country?
I will do eventually, but for now, all I've got planned is Graham's side. I can't even think beyond that at this stage. Although I'm directing the Comics Choice Awards, the Savannah Comics Choice Awards at the Teatro in Monte Cassino in August, September.
I always get confused because there's the newcomer one and then there's the one that you're talking about.
The newcomer showcase
is at the end of May.
Yeah. At the Soweto F&B Stadium, I think.
Are you judging?
Soweto Theatre, sorry. No, I'm here. I'm working on my shows, but I'm directing the big actual.
In August.
Yeah, the Comics Choice Awards.
Where's that?
Cool. It's at the Teatro, Monte Cassino. Yeah. Great. It's always a great night out. It's wonderful event. Yeah, it's a jaw. That's really lekker. What else? We're hoping that Showville is going to be renewed, and we possibly will be shooting at the end of the year, a new season of that.
That's going well, yeah.
Yeah, it's doing. I'm really happy. It's
also giving a platform to up and coming people.
Show.
I'm so proud of it. I think it's just got so much heart, and it's like I watch it now because we filmed it at the end of last year, and when I watch it now, I just cry every time.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like the stories that we uncovered and like the quality of people, like, you know, there's so much negativity in the country at the moment, but like shooting that show made me feel so positive about South Africans. South Africans are the most incredible people. There are people out there living like below the breadline, like in intense poverty, but they're just so good and they're helping each other in their communities.
Laugh, hey? We know how to get through things by laughter is definitely the best medicine. It's true.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that that show is picking up a nice audience, and I hope it gets renewed because I can't wait to visit more small town South Africa. It was such a cool experience traveling from small town to small town. Really cool time.
Where can we find you on social media, even though you don't follow me?
At Rob van Vuuren on Instagram, Rob van Vuuren on Facebook. I'm still not on Snapchat. I just can't bring myself to do. I know everyone's doing it now. I'm thinking I should be doing that. I can't. I'm struggling enough as it is with all of these things. So I probably have to get on that.
And you have a website?
Yes, robvanvuuren.com.
Okay, awesome. Rob, thank you for your time, man. Thank you for coming in, buddy.
What a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'll check you on Twitter.
I need something. Are you going to follow me back now, eh? Thank you for watching another episode of Talking Point with Stephen Taylor here on Deen TV. Remember to interact with the show, get in touch with us via Twitter. You can go and follow me at Stephen Taylor SA. Go and tweet me, go and let me know what you think of the show. If there is anything happening in your community that you'd like to let us know about, please let us know about that. Any suggestions of who you'd like to have on the show, please also get that through to me. You can check out our official Talking Point Facebook page. That is just simply facebook.com/Talking Point. Go and like the page and go and share the page. Let your friends know about the show as well. We'll see you next time, same place. Have a great one. Take it easy. Bye-bye.